Tonight, I'm going to start off with just a question.
What?
If a black person has a gun, not in his hand, does that mean that he is a threat to police officers? I'm just asking a question to provide context into this next segment here as we watch this video.
Taking off northbound on Fulton. This is an armed carjacking vehicle, guys.
From the sky to the street, newly released video shows police tracking a minivan involved in an armed carjacking in Towson on July 4th, spotted Sunday just before 1:30 in the morning.
So our assumption is that whoever's in the vehicle was armed, and you have to approach it like that.
Commissioner Richard Worley says officers followed for nearly 20 minutes before the van is seen coming to a stop on Clifton Avenue. 42-year-old Maurice Daniels opens, then quickly shuts the door as officers surround. The video shows officers repeatedly ordering him out of the vehicle and to put his hands up, which he does. But then he can be seen lowering his right hand as police use a glass-breaking device to shatter his window because they believe the door is locked. It's in that moment that police start shouting "gun" and they open fire.
That part right there, gun. Does gun mean to the other officers that he's holding a gun, he's now posing a threat to the police officer that came up to the vehicle, or did they simply see a gun?
It doesn't seem safe.
I recently got pulled over, which I haven't been pulled over in quite some time, or rather got a ticket. I haven't got a ticket in quite some years.
Damn.
But nevertheless, I got pulled over. When the police officer came over to my vehicle, I rolled down all four of my windows. This was in broad daylight, so he can see, quite frankly, what was in the vehicle. And I told him, sir, I have an XDS Springfield 45 right here in the door while I had my hands on the steering wheel. The way that I go about treating police is so they always come to the vehicle knowing exactly what's going on. But that's my God-given right, the way that I want to conduct business with the police or an encounter with the police versus other people. They don't have to abide by some of the same tactics that I call them, the way that I govern myself so I ensure my safety, let alone that he feels as though he's safe. He simply took my ID card, went back to his police cruiser, ran my background, didn't find anything, gave me a citation, and he was on his way. And I thanked him for his service because, again, things could have got ugly. He could have been racist. He could have been any sort of way, but he wasn't, right? And I even complimented on his cologne. That's just me.
Nice.
I've never had a bad encounter with the police in Texas, but I've definitely had a bad encounter with police in Washington State because that police precinct, I believe, that was near the military base that I was stationed at, I believe they were pretty much infected with a disease called power. They just was terrorized, soldiers, especially black soldiers in that particular area. I digress. Let me really hark on this because this is important. There were 6 Baltimore police officers fired more than 70 rounds at a man sitting in a minivan. Now, I know a lot of people in the comment section are going to say all sorts of things. Why did he have the police officers to put him on a wild goose chase for 20 minutes if he wasn't guilty? We don't know the state of his mind. We don't know if he had any mental health issues. We don't know if maybe he was smoking a blunt and he was trying to get away to throw it out so he wouldn't throw it out the window so he wouldn't go to jail. I don't know.
So how did we end up here?
The gun they saw was a BB gun, by the way. 70 rounds, a BB gun. And before anybody in the comment section or the stupid crowd starts typing no, I'm not about to tell you that those officers knew that it was a BB gun. We all know that a lot of BB guns actually are replicas of real guns. They replicate these BB guns as if they're real guns because, again, me personally, I don't know why people buy BB guns. They're very, very dangerous, right? Of course, you can hurt people with BB guns. You can damage property with BB guns. And people don't really use BB guns as protections. They use them maybe in the backyard practicing, or maybe they're just shooting things, just having a fun time. But in my opinion, BB guns are not, meant for fun. Maybe the airsoft guns. But again, any gun that resembles a real gun should not be used as if this is an actual deadly weapon, because it isn't. I don't know too many people, if any, who've ever been killed by a BB gun. I'm not saying that it's not possible, but I just want to kind of get you guys in a psyche, the way that we think about these things. Through anything. From anywhere. However far. Whatever it takes. Because it all starts with Lova. Your website, your app, all built on Lova. Built right, kept running. Lova did. Now, the police officers didn't know this, and I'm going to be straight with you because being straight with you is the only reason this channel is worth your time. I've got a different question, and it's a bigger one, and I really want you guys to hear this because Baltimore has been under a federal consent decree since 2017. That's called federal oversight. Court ordered reform 9 years of it, and all of it, and out of all of the sections of that decree, there are exactly a few Baltimore still hasn't gotten right. One of them is the use of force. 9 years, 83% compliant. And the part they can't finish is the part where 70 bullets happen. That's the story. So again, let's just kind of dive right into this. And I want you guys to hear the rest of the report before I give my take.
Daniels was taken to the hospital where he died. Investigators later recovered a BB gun, a replica of a real one, from inside the vehicle.
We know that the officer who recovered the BB gun did not fire. He was a witnessing officer. He said he took the gun out of the suspect's hands, Mr. Daniels' hands.
The video was released here at Baltimore City Police headquarters. The commissioner says that 6 officers fired and are now on administrative leave. I asked the commissioner about this. He says those 6 officers fired 70 times.
Honestly, I'm just shocked. I think that's way over excessive force. It shouldn't have been done. It shouldn't take that many shots.
WBAL TV 11 News asked about concerns with the number of shots fired in this situation.
Well, you have 6 officers who perceive things very differently. I think you have to put in context that the one individual sitting in the car was reaching for a gun, had a gun in his hand. He had an officer who did not have his weapon out standing right next to him. So I can't tell you what the officers thought, but I have to believe what they thought, and what they did was what they believed was right.
The Attorney General's office.
Now, if one of your questions, if I am upset or if I am disappointed with the black guy in the background of the police chief to the right, slightly, only because he's shaking his head like, yeah, I totally agree with that. While the other white officer to the police chief's left is just giving a stern look, just listening. But that's a side note. This happened on Saturday, July 4th of this year. There is a armed carjacking in Towson, Maryland. A 2010 Dodge minivan gets taken. That actually happened, by the way. So again, I believe this is building the premise of this whole encounter. Somebody was terrorized that day, and I'm not going to skip past it. Early Sunday morning, July 5th, around 1 o'clock in the morning, Baltimore's police helicopter, they call it Foxtrot, spots the minivan. They track it for nearly 20 minutes. Hold on to that for a quick second, because I think that the timeline here of being chased, I guess, build the anxiety and stress and have police officer on edge. And I'm not giving them any excuse. They should be trained as professional for situations like this, okay?
That's right.
The whole fight or flight, we don't know just yet until they yell gun. But nevertheless, eventually officers corner the van near Clifton and Denison and Walbrook Junction. The driver opens his door like he's about to get out. Then he closes it really quickly as the police officer's coming up. And he refuses to get out, right? He refuses to come out the vehicle. An officer walks up with a glass breaking device. And here's a total straight from the police commissioner himself. That officer didn't even have his weapon drawn, and he didn't, according to the videotape. He got the tool to break the window, and that's pretty much it. Then another officer approaching from a different angle sees what he believes is a handgun. He yells, gun, gun, gun. The commissioner says 3 times or more. He starts backing up, and according to the department, the man in the van who had both hands up lowers one hand, and the 6 officers open fire. Right there, I want you guys to think about it. So at no time did the assailant put down his hand or reach for a gun or pretend to reach for a gun or pose a threat to the officer that came up to the window with a glass breaking device. And this is my thought, okay? I know in the heat of battle, right, things are not as logical as we would like to have them to seem. But again, you would like to believe that, you know, military personnel and law enforcement personnel are trained for emotional events like this. And to a certain degree we are, but we still don't know how we're going to react in those regards. And already with that explanation, a lot of you like, whose side are you taking? Again, this is Black Logic. I'm taking Logic's side and kind of giving you guys the psyche of people who've been in certain situations like myself, that even though the training kicks in, muscle memory kicks in, there's a time where your emotions are involved in your decision making, unfortunately. And believe me, they try to run you through the gauntlet of training, but no one knows how they're really going to respond in those certain critical events and situations. Now, and again, you had 6 officers open fire, more than 70 rounds. Damn! Now, these officers, from my knowledge, are not carrying M4 AR style rifles. They have handguns, okay? And a lot of these handguns could carry, if you have one in the chamber, probably 16 rounds at the most. I believe that most police officers in the United States of America actually carry Glocks of some kind. I have a Glock myself. I think I have a Glock 27 or 37. I could be wrong. I think it's 37 more so than anything. But anyway, don't quote me. I do have a Glock. But anyway, we're talking about more than 70 rounds fired inside this vehicle. This man is 42 years of age, Maurice Daniels of Millersville, Maryland. He's taken to a hospital. He's pronounced dead. What? No officers were injured at all, and the weapon they recovered from the van was a BB gun. Now, let me do the part that most people skip because I owe it to you guys. Deputy Commissioner Brian Nadeau said this: it's dark. So when you see that black gun, it looks like a Colt 1911. It's not marked, it's not orange, it's not yellow, it's no markings on it. And again, it's dark. And family, unfortunately, this is true. This is a legitimate point, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. And the reason why I say unfortunately, because I wish BB guns, I wish airsoft rifles, I wish that these non-lethal, quote unquote, play toy, very harmful toys, by the way, had bright colors, that the whole entire gun, the whole entire BB gun was a bright orange, a bright yellow, a bright pink, something other that replicates a real firearm and a real lethal weapon, okay? Because a BB gun with no orange tip in the dark, doesn't glow in the dark at 1 a.m. And I know some of you like, blah, 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 that don't matter. It could have been bright pink with red stripes on it. They still would have fired if they believed that it was a gun. I will have to hold you guys to it. At this point, I don't know, right? Because of the buildup and the anxiety that I know if I'm chasing an assailant or I'm looking for a terrorist group in this vicinity, and I've been, at one point in time, we were probably in close proximity, and I went on a wild goose chase, and I wonder what's going on. Do they have an IED? Do they have a bomb? Do we have a group of terrorists within the vehicle? There's a lot of things that may be going through my mind at the time, okay? Again, Pause. Then he stops and opens up the minivan's door, see the police officer, and close it. Again, I can't speak to what he was thinking at the time. I can't speak to the condition that he was in. I can't speak to the emotional and or psychological state that he was in. But granted, again, I have to emphasize on these guns because a BB gun with no orange tip, okay, in the dark at 1 a.m, and a vehicle taking in at an armed carjacking the day before, all of these things compile on each other. That officer did not have a lab. He had a 2.5 seconds and a shape in a dark van. I'm not going to sit in a comfortable chair with the answer key in my lap and tell you that the officer knew. And that Commissioner Richard Worley called the video difficult to watch and said his thoughts remain with the Daniels family. He also, quote, I can't tell you what the officers thought, but I have to believe that they thought and what they did was what they believed was right. Now, this is where I make the divide. What they did was absolutely 1000% wrong. 70 shots between 6 officers.
How embarrassing.
So you mean to tell me that majority of these officers, if not all, empty their clips? Because, okay, you have 30 rounds. If they both have loaded clips, 15 rounds per magazine. So that's 30, you got 6. So they roughly, if you did the average, they roughly shot 10 to 11 rounds per officer. Okay. And they probably still have around 5 rounds within their magazines, but 10 rounds, most training, whether it be a handgun or an assault rifle that's semi-automatic, is 2 to 4 rounds. Okay. Per threat, 2 to 4 rounds, especially when you had that many officers firing. So basically they just had a good old standoff with nobody shooting back at them, right? They pow, 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 pow. Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Thinking about the noise of war. Think about the fog of war, the noise of war. You have 6 officers, probably in somewhat of a semi-hemisphere perimeter, some sort of tactical positioning around this vehicle. So they won't do crossfire, right? So none of them won't get harmed. So they're probably shooting at an angle like this towards the vehicle. And all of them are shooting at least 10 to 11 rounds. Maybe an officer shot more than that. Maybe an officer shot less than that. But let's just say that all of them shot around 10 to 11 rounds.
That escalated quickly.
I want to give you the sound effects here in slow motion. Pow, 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 pow. So that's 11 shots from one officer.
Oh man, it's getting dangerous over here.
Now I want you guys to think about 6 officers letting off 10 to 11 rounds per. Pow, 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 pow.
Are you okay?
That's a really large amount of rounds being shot at one man. That reports have it, they don't even know if he picked up the BB gun or not. One officer that was on the opposite side of the vehicle just yelled gun. Just because you yell gun does not mean that he picked up the gun, does not mean he pointed the gun at the officer. It just simply means he has a gun. Keep firing! You stating he has a gun poses no threat to police officers, but it does put them on notice and make them very, very aware that it is a possible threat that he picks up this gun. Because the officer on the other side, again, supposedly never drew his weapon. So again, as I look at this, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just like, wait a minute. So if you have a gun in the vehicle like I did, now, thank God it was broad daylight, and I'm letting him know I had a weapon. And some people are like, why would you let him know that? Because when they run your license plates, like me, I have a concealed handgun license. They already know that you have possible weapons in the car. So instead of them finding out, I just like to tell them in advance. And I do the same thing. I don't care if it's raining. I don't care if it's cold. I don't care if it's hot, because those things are very, very temporary. Anytime that I've been pulled over, you can ask my wife, you can ask my family. I roll down all the damn windows. You're going to be cold. You're going to be hot. I don't care. We're trying to get home because we know that a lot of these officers are trumped up on power. And they're just finding any good old excuse to kill citizens, okay? Especially Black citizens. That's my take. That's my conjecture. That's my perspective. So I do everything I can do that's possible. And even my wife, who doesn't want to do it, I said, babe, put your hands on the dash. So if I'm in the driver's seat, I have my hands right here, the 10 and 2 position. And I tell my wife to stretch out her hands and put them on the dash, because I want everybody to get home. It could be very humiliating, and some people may not even feel that is very, very necessary. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm still here today. And now hopefully I'm still here tomorrow and for the next 40 to 50 years, if I can live so long, very healthy. Okay. So again, that's just some of the things that I do. But again, not everybody does that. Not everybody has to do that. Okay. But again, not giving excuse, but giving reason and logic of the situation and the environment that these police officers saw. But again, the question is this: simply you seeing a gun, does that pose a threat to the 6 police officers or the 7 police officers on the scene? Or does it make them aware that it's possible he can pick up this weapon? Because if I didn't see a weapon down, I say gun, 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 in that sort of tone, with that sort of energy, everybody's on alert. They're like, oh, he's pointing a gun. Oh, he's going to shoot a gun. Oh, one of my fellow officers are in harm's way. Let me neutralize the threat.
Why are you here?
I don't think they thought about that. See, that one officer incited that situation, that incident tenfold. Because if he says, sir, do not put your hand near the gun, he could have easily changed it. Sir, put both of your hands back up in the air. We see a gun. If you don't put your hands up, we're going to fire. Because again, there is roughly 1.5 seconds from him grabbing the gun, picking up the gun, and then pulling the trigger. You get what I'm getting at? That takes time. I'm already drawn coming to the vehicle. So I see the gun. I'm like, gun, gun, gun. I'm not going to say gun, gun, gun. Sir, put your hands up. I see a gun right there on the dash. Put your hands up. I'm going to fire in 3 seconds. 1, Okay, he has his hands up. Sir, get out of the vehicle. Get out of the vehicle. Okay. I'm going to do certain things, okay, to suffice life. But again, I don't know the training that these police officers go through, but they see a gun and they like, okay, let's kill. It's crazy to me. It's quite crazy to me, ladies and gentlemen. But this is me being fair on both sides. Because I think there is a lack of training of police officers in this country. I don't know if they need to go through military training, but then I've seen prior military personnel become police officers and end up in the same situations. All of them driving around scared. They got on body armor. They got tasers. They got pepper spray. They got flapjacks and nightsticks. They got AR-15. They got handguns. They have all sorts of weaponry, okay? They have all sorts of accessories. And see, everybody is arguing about whether the first officer was justified in firing. That's the argument on the internet right now. Was it a real gun? Did he lower his hand? Justified or not justified? That is the wrong argument. And I think it's a wrong argument on purpose because the department own story is that one officer saw a gun. One. So how do you get to 70 rounds? Because those 6 officers, 70 plus rounds, that's not 6 people independently making 6 judgment call. That is a chain reaction. The first shot becomes the reason for the second shot. The second shot becomes the reason for the third shot. And by that time, it's over. Nobody fired 70 times. Everybody fired a little and 70 happened. That's got a name in policing, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen. They call it contagious fire, sympathetic fire, and is one of the oldest, most studied, most documented failures in American law enforcement. It was Amdua Diallo who took 41 shots at a wallet in 1999. It's why Sean Bill took 50 shots on his wedding day in 2006. 27 years later, 70 shots for a BB gun. And here's the part that should stop you cold, right? Contagious fire is not a decision. Nobody decides it, which is exactly why it's a training problem and a police problem and also a policy problem, but not what was in those officers' heart at the time or the problem that they probably thought of. So when the commissioner says, I have to believe what they thought and what they did was what they believed was right. Commissioner, respectfully, that answer only works if the question is about one man's intentions. It doesn't work at all if the question is about 70 rounds. 70 rounds? I'm just trying to think about my time in the military, whether it be training or actual combat. 70 rounds is a lot of rounds, ladies and gentlemen, especially from handguns, okay? I know it's 6 people, 15 rounds per, maybe 16, one in the chamber. It just has me to think about a lot of things. I can go either way with this because 70 rounds isn't something anybody thought. It's something that happened while 6 people were thinking. Now, here's where this stopped being a Baltimore story and starts being your story wherever you're watching from right now, because Baltimore police have been under a federal consent decree since 2017. That decree exists because Freddie Gray died in the back of a Baltimore police van in 2015, and because a 2016 Justice Department investigation found what the DOJ itself described as widespread abuse, excessive force, unlawful stops, and discriminatory policing in that very department. That's not activists saying that. That's the federal government's own finding. So for 9 years, a federal judge has been supervising the Baltimore Police Department, and they made real progress. I'm going to give them that because it's true and because you can't diagnose power honestly if you only report the failures. And as of April of this year, the BPD is roughly 83% compliant overall. A federal judge has now lifted oversight on 7 full sections. We're talking about technology, recruitment and retention, transportation of persons in custody, health and wellness, community oversight task force, First Amendment protection, coordination with school police. 7 sections done, signed off by a federal judge.
That's messed up.
Look at that list one more time. Look at what they finished. We're talking about technology, recruiting, transport, wellness, paperwork, committees, etc. Now, let me tell you what's still under the federal court oversight 9 years in. Impartial policing, use of force, and misconduct investigation. and partial police and use of force misconduct investigation. Those are the three things the consent decree was about. Those are the reason the decree actually exists. Freddie Gray did not die because of a technology gap. He didn't die because of a recruiting shortfall. So what did we actually do for 9 years? We fixed the easy stuff. We fixed the stuff you can buy, hire, and file. And three things that require changing how police actually treat people, those are still sitting there unfinished. 9 years and one federal judge later. And then on July 5th, in the middle of that unfinished business, 6 officers fired 70 rounds at a man with a BB gun. I'm not telling you the consent decree caused that. I'm telling you that the consent decree predicted it. It named use of force as the Unifix thing, and then the Unifix thing actually happened. That's not irony, right, family? That's a forecast coming true. Now, here's something that Maryland actually does right. And I'm going to say so because when a system works, I tell you that as well. This case is not being investigated by the Baltimore Police Department. It's being investigated by the independent individual. This case is not being investigated by the Baltimore Police Department. It's been investigated by the Independent Investigation Division of the Maryland Attorney General's office. That's Attorney General Anthony Brown Shops. Separate agency, separate chain of command. That matters more than most people actually realize, because in most of this country, when police kill somebody, the police investigate the police. That's like, I robbed the bank and I'm going to investigate myself robbing the bank. Nah, you didn't rob the bank. You guys are free to go. You get what I'm getting at? But nevertheless, people wonder why the results always look the same, how these police officers get off, because the police are investigating the police.
Hell no!
Maryland changed all of that. And Maryland also put a clock on it. The IID's policy is to release body camera and dash cam footage generally within 20 business days. And they beat their own clock. Shooting was on July 5th. Footage released that Friday, July 10th, 5 days. Now compare that to what we've covered on this channel. Wilmington, Delaware, where a mother had to fight to see her 19-year-old son died, or in this case, murdered. Memphis, where families are still asking. Houston, where a federal agency got to investigate its own shooting. Maryland named the officer in 2 days, released the footage in 5, handed the family the video before the public even saw it. That's the difference between a state that's built a system and a state that didn't. So let me say something that's going to surprise some of y'all, and I'm not here to tell you that Maryland covered this up. They didn't. Okay, they did this part right, actually. And that's precisely why this story matters so much, because Baltimore is the good version.
Okay.
Independent investigators, fast disclosure, named officers, 9 years of federal supervision, 83% compliant, and the good version still produced 70 rounds and a dead man with a BB gun.
Wake up, nigga.
If this is where it looks like where the reforms are working, what do you think it looks like where nobody's watching at all? And there's one more thing, and I've got to say it because nobody in the press conference or on news media are actually going to state it. Maurice Daniels was 42 years old. Millersville, Maryland, he was somebody's son, maybe somebody's father, 42 years of life. The commissioner said reporters tried to reach his family and didn't hear back. And you know what? I understand that the silence, that the family got handed a video of the worst 30 seconds of their lives, and then the phone started ringing. Some people didn't even have a press conference in them. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that Maurice Daniels was a saint, because I don't know. And neither do you. And neither does anybody type in the comment section right now. There was an armed carjacking. That was a real story. If he did that, that's serious. And a real victim in Towson deserves to be taken seriously too. But family, look at me when I tell you guys this, because an armed carjacking is not a capital offense. There is no crime in the state of Maryland that carries a penalty of 70 bullets fired by 6 people without a trial. So we don't have that sentence. We got rid of that. And the only reason I have to say this out loud is because somewhere in the last 30 years, we all quietly started acting like a police encounter is a verdict. And it isn't. It's supposed to be an arrest. So here's the big picture, right? Everybody wants you arguing about the BB gun Was it real? Was it fake? Was the officer justified? Should he have known? That argument is loud and it goes nowhere and is designed to go nowhere. Should he have pulled over earlier? Why'd he send police on a 20-minute wild goose chase, on a police run, or whatever you want to call it? Why did he attempt to leave the vehicle or exit the vehicle and then slam the door when he saw the police officer, or slam the door whenever? Again, there's many questions to his mental state, what was going on, what he did prior. Was he part of the carjacking? What initially happened? Nobody really knows. Meanwhile, the real question is sitting right there in the paperwork. 9 years of federal oversight, 7 sections off, and the 3 sections still open, okay? They still open are impartial policing, use of force, and misconduct investigation. The exact 3 things the whole decree was built for.
Pause.
That tells you something about how reform actually works in this country. Institutions will fix everything you can buy: new cameras, new software, new recruiting pipelines, new wellness programs. Every one of those is a purchase order, and every one of those is a press release. But the one thing that requires a police department to change how he uses force on a human being 9 years in, that's still the unfinished section, because you can't buy that, right? You can only decide it, and nobody's deciding it. So watch these 4 things. 1, watch the IID's investigation. It's ongoing. 5 of those 6 officers still have not spoken to investigators as of that press conference. Watch whether they do, and watch what they actually say.
Oh, okay.
And 2, watch whether anybody, and I'm talking about anybody, asks that 70-round question: was it justified? How does one gun sighting, not that he was holding a gun, not that he was brandishing a gun, not that he picked up the gun, become 70 rounds from 6 weapons? If nobody asks it, nothing changes. 3, watch the consent decree docket. Baltimore is 83% compliant. Watch whether the use of force is the next section they move to close. And if they try to watch, what evidence they actually use, because it'll be hard to argue that section's fixed with the July 5th in file. And 4, watch your own city, because Baltimore is a version with a federal judge attached to it. Ask what your department's use of force policy says about sympathetic fire. Okay, sympathetic fire. Ask to investigate your police when they kill somebody. Family, you're not in the good version if they investigate themselves. You're in the other one. Now, these stories look separate: a hearing room in Washington, a dark street in Walbrook Junction. They're not separate. They're the same thing. Who has the power? Who gets to say, that's not my department? And who pays the price for the gap in between? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with somebody who needs to hear the truth behind the headlines and 70 damn bullets.